This one's for the culture. Me and wifey in the room thinking of a master plan, thinking how we can influence the culture from where we stand. Knowing that our steps are ordered by the master's hand, still 10 toes down, we ain't switching up the stance. The mission of this music ain't just to make them dance, trying to tell them about the rock, cause they built.
And welcome to episode 51 of The Bond Chronicles. I am Mr. Bond Chronicles, one of your lovely hosts, and I am blessed to be here with my other host,
Mrs. Bond Chronicles.
And we are the Bond Chronicles. You can like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Join our Facebook group where it goes down. Definitely turn on those notifications so when we drop surprise events and surprise shows, you will be the first to know.
You sound like a car salesman in a commercial. It's so funny.
Well, hopefully you buy what I'm selling. So today we want to get into hopefully a fun topic in relation to some of the previous topics that were maybe a little bit more serious, or
this is a fun topic.
It could be.
I mean, the conversation should be entertaining. I don't know if it's necessarily a fun topic.
Right. So we'll see what you guys think, and you guys can let us know if it was fun or not, or triggering for something.
Right. I think it might be more triggering than anything.
All right. Well, I'm going to try to have fun, but if you don't, we apologize. But that's life in itself. So what I would like to start with is what I thought was funny. I didn't think it was. Part of it was funny, part of it wasn't. So I don't know if you guys are familiar or on the internet, but this weekend, a woman pulled up with a friend of hers on a man who was out to lunch. Nice outdoor seating, nice perfect weather. Hopefully you had good weather where you were. And the mood was right, and the two were sitting there having just a glorious good time. And the woman parades herself into the restaurant. Sees said dude. I'm guessing she had Find My iPhone or something on, because she went right to him and just went nuts. Started throwing stuff. She's picking up glasses and throwing them. She's taking the table napkin and throwing it on the ground. And it is dead quiet. So it's just a bunch of people looking around shocked. I believe she was light skinned. I don't know her descent. He was a dark skinned black man. And the woman he was with was a light skinnish, so to speak. And it was just a mess. She was yelling, she was screaming, she was throwing drinks at him. She took the plates, and it was a little gate around, similar to how we're sitting, but it was a gate around. And she dumped all the food and all the trays over the side onto the outside the restaurant, onto the sidewalk. Apparently, she was throwing crawfish at the individuals. And while all this is going on, the other woman, and I wish I had her name, but I don't have my phone with me at the moment. She gets up and leaves. And so while this is all being recorded, the guy's just standing there showing great restraint as this woman puts her hands on him and is just utterly disrespectful. And at the end of the day, she picks up her baby, because the baby was there with him, and storms out. And so we're left with a man just standing there in utter shock and disbelief.
Hungry.
And definitely hungry. I don't know what happened. Do you have to pay for the bill when that happens?
Yeah, they served you the food and everything. It doesn't matter if somebody gets upset and flips the table. Somebody still needs to pay the people.
So I would call the police and tell her
I would call the police.
She
You're
died
the most anti-police person ever. But then you would call the police on somebody for something like that?
So I am not a big fan of police. This is true.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I can weaponize the police against someone else, I am okay with weaponizing the police in hopes that bad things might happen to the person that they get called on, because they deserved it. It takes a lot for me to call the police, but if I do, my hope is that they do what I expect the police to do, which is go above and beyond what is asked of them. So in this situation, no, I'd be pissed. You gonna come destroy my lunch and then I gotta pay? I'm getting that back in blood. That's absurd.
Food? back in blood? Like that was, you said it was a like crawfish seafood type boil thing, so it was probably pricey.
Easy. Like, what if it's 5 cents and I have to pay it because you threw a tantrum? That's going to be a problem.
You want it back in blood.
Exactly. And I'm going to get it one way or another. But what was interesting about all this was the comments. I am someone who loves a good comment when it comes to social media. And although there were a lot of people that were like criticizing the woman and saying she was doing way too much, which she was, what makes it potentially worse is the side chick in this case realized she was trending and DM'd the site that was publishing this video.
Mm-hmm.
And in this DM, she made it very clear that she's not a side chick. That's why he brought his baby, who was like 1 month old. And apparently they're just friends. And apparently he sells her weed. So I don't know if she should put that out there, but she did. And so in hindsight, apparently this woman that the guy just had the baby with has done this to every woman that's in his life, including his family members. Now I'm just reporting what she said, wasn't there, can't confirm it.
How's she know that?
Because they're best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably out to lunch saying, yo, my girl is nuts. Guess what she did?
Mm-hmm.
So
we only have her little side of the story.
That's all we got.
Yeah, okay.
Had you stayed and gave a statement, we would have your side, woman. But you didn't. You grabbed the baby and dipped out. And given your state of mind, I don't know if that was the best place for the baby to be, is in the back of your car. But we can only hope that the baby got where she got safe. So my question is, why is that okay? Because my comment on the video was, had he dropped her for hitting him and throwing things, he would have gone to jail. And so my question is, why in those situations, and we've seen a ton of situations where people are believed to be cheating or actually are cheating, violence takes place. And it is justified because it's violence. Sometimes, because in hindsight, when a man does it, or God forbid he kills the other person, then it's not justified. So I want to ask you, why in some cases, typically in my opinion, when it's woman on man going nuts because she got cheated on versus man on woman when he gets cheated on, is the woman okay and the man is vilified? Take it away.
Well, you know why. The culture, like people are raised, the whole aura around a man putting his hands on a woman, he just shouldn't, period. In no way, shape, or form is it ever acceptable. Is it okay? There's just no grounds of justification for it. That's what we all believe.
That's not what we all believe.
It's what most people believe. It's what the standard is. I think only in maybe the last 5 years, if that, I wouldn't even say that, you do have more women speaking out against women actually putting their hands on men. I personally am not an advocate. If you put your hands on a man, you should be able and be prepared for him to put his hands back on you. I don't think it's fair. I don't think anything under law or what we see in criminal cases against, men and women and abuse cases and all of that, justifies women not being held responsible when they physically assault a man. I think if more men reported, I know I've joked and made fun of you for calling the police, but if more men reported situations like that and there were actual consequences for those behaviors, you'd see a lot more change in the culture behind it. But because they don't, we are where we are. But her going off and flipping out and all of that, one, I'm not just going to believe the story of the one chick just off of the strength because she, DM'd the people. I don't think that most people flip out like that on just some one-off, this is how I react to you being in close proximity to any other woman. There's definitely more behind that. And if there isn't, then she's legit, needs help, and someone should try and help her.
I did see something, and I don't know if it was a comment or if it was from the woman or someone around who said that he said he was going to get like the car fixed, and he ended up at lunch.
Oh, so he lied.
I believe that was a part of this, and I apologize for not putting that out earlier, but I do think I did read that somewhere. So I believe.
And then why you take my baby, my 1-month-old baby? You want to go sell drugs or whatever it is? Like, there's so many holes in this story. Like, it's really suspect off break.
That he would. I feel like taking the baby would lend more credence to it wasn't cheating. Like, that just seems odd to take a 1 or 2 month old baby to lunch with the woman you're cheating with.
People are trife. Like,
I mean, that's fine. I just feel like that's a lot. And if I'm the side chick,
then why lie about going to go get your car fixed?
That's the part. Someone's lying. So
clearly it's him.
Why is it clearly him?
It just seems like it's him.
I feel like it seems like it's her.
Who? Her? The side chick?
No, the main chick.
How is she lying? What is we have not heard anything from her, so she can't even defend herself in this situation. True. But why is it her? Why is she lying?
I mean, I wouldn't think that a man who just had a baby and a woman would get together with, like, she would just have lunch with a guy with a 1 month old. Like, I feel like she'd be like, not into that.
Not if they were messing around beforehand.
So what, he took the 1 month old to her house
to give credence to more, what did you say, to the lie about him going to go do whatever he lied that he was going to go do. Like, I've seen people, like, I've known people to take their kids or to take whoever with them to go do their dirty deeds so that it looked less suspicious.
Okay.
I'm sure even some folks who've done some things of that nature.
No, my people I know wouldn't take their kids, like, not to cheat on the kid's parent. Like, that's risky. Kids are snitches.
They are indeed.
So obviously a 1 month old can't talk, but that would just be super awkward. Like, I don't know.
No, and I saw this other video on Instagram. And the person in the commentary, like, who's recording the video, she's explaining the situation to, I guess, someone who's asking questions. But a woman is at a restaurant, like, she is physically, like, trying to assault her dude, but he's sitting across from her best friend, and her best friend has a baby. And, like, the sound in the video is kind of muffled, but you can hear the person who's recording is just like, no, that's her husband, and that's her best friend here having lunch, whatever, with this baby. And I guess she just found out that he'd been cheating on her with her best friend. And, like, the chick was going off and says, like, you have already ruined your marriage and now you trying to screw up mine too. I was like, dang, that baby's probably his. Like, people do cruddy stuff, and whoever is around or involved to help them look less cruddy, like, they'll use that.
So that brings I want to go in a slightly different direction. So I agree. Mm-hmm. The world's full of trash people.
It is.
But from my perspective, whether it be TV, whether it be music and entertainment, cheating's like glorified. It's celebrated. Like, it's the thing to do. But then we keep having these incidents over, like, time. You can go all the way back to David, who got
not David,
who got a good man killed because he wanted to be with his girl. Like, people have been killing and getting violent over cheating, but so many people cheat, and nobody wants to be cheated on, but so many people cheat, and I don't understand it. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Is that a question?
Yeah, like, why is it like that?
I think it's just a level of selfishness, because cheating is very selfish. And then, and serial cheaters, those people are typically just super selfish. They only think about themselves. A lot of times they're narcissistic. Everything revolves around them, and they're not considering the other person's feelings.
So you think the person cheating doesn't think that what they're doing is going to hurt the other person?
No, they know it's going to hurt the other person if they get caught, but they're banking on either not getting caught or not really caring what happens when they get caught. It's really, to me, there's no legit explanation as to why people cheat, or you can't explain away why you decided to to violate our relationship that way, because that's what it is. It's a complete violation of trust. People have excuses. There are reasons, that people feel more justified in cheating. And, you can get into the nuances of all of that. But at the end of the day, most people, when they cheat, they think that they're not going to get caught. And if they do get caught, well, I'll deal with the repercussions of that when I get there. But in the moment, like a one-off situation with one person, one time, okay, I can understand maybe, but not without a lot of discussion. But I've caught you cheating 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. You're a cheater. You just don't know how to be faithful. You don't want to be faithful, and you suck at life.
So you believe, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but you would say if someone is a serial cheater, that all responsibility falls on the cheater? Or does the person that's getting cheated on have no culpability?
How does the person who's getting cheated on have culpability? Especially if you've done it more than once. Maybe the first time we can chop it up to there's a gap or there's some misunderstanding in our relationship that has pushed you in a direction where you felt like you had no other choice. I think that's a bullcrap excuse. I think that's a total cop-out of the person taking responsibility for their selfish actions. But fine, one time. What's your excuse the next time? Or the time after that? Or the time after that?
What if you don't fix the issue that caused it to happen the first time?
Well, then you need to just end the relationship. If that's where you are in the relationship, where you have decided that you do not care about the other person's feelings because they clearly of some way don't care about your feelings in some way, shape, or form, then you need to end the relationship. Because it's stupid to be in that type of cycle.
So,
and I can speak to that just from experience. I'm a grown up now, I know better, but just that sort of side, that's so damaging. It's so toxic. It's super unhealthy. It's dumb.
But I don't think that's fair. And here's why I'll say this. So I've seen a bunch of stories, especially generation before us and definitely the generation before that, where the woman would know the man's cheating. And that's just what's been portrayed to me. If women was cheating as much as they cheat now back then, news to me, so be it. But it was understood that the man provided, gave a good living, woman could stay at home, could raise a family, could do whatever it is, but he cheated. So it's kind of like that 80-20 thing. You have 80% of a great relationship, but maybe women have weaponized sex since I can remember. Making a man wait, taking it away when they're angry. Just say no. The man is helpless if a woman doesn't want to have sex with him. Or you're a sex offender, or you're abusive. If your significant other doesn't want to have sex, there's nothing you can do. So, in that scenario,
they're justified to go out and have sex with someone else because your significant other won't have sex with you.
It's not where I was going.
But that's what it sounds like where you're going.
If you let me finish. So, in cases, yes, the man will say, fine, you don't want to have sex for whatever reason. It could be a valid reason. It could be an invalid reason. But I want to have sex. So, what we can do is we have a family. We have a life. And most of our life's pretty good. This part of our life sucks. So I, as the cheater in this example, can go out and cheat. I make sure it's taken care of. I won't bring it to your doorstep. There won't be any of that. I won't catch feelings. I won't bring in the STDs. But I don't want to, and I don't want to, and I shouldn't have to live without sex. And a woman can say, I can throw this man away, but now I got to go work. Now I got to raise all these kids by myself. Now I got to try and find a house by myself. Like, you just say, just get out the relationship. Getting out of a relationship isn't always that easy. Like, there's a lot to weigh when ending a relationship. Like, we know people that have gone through bankruptcy because they ended a relationship. We know people that have had their credit completely destroyed. We know people that have been financially damaged, and kids also are significantly impacted. So it's not just, well, if you're just going to keep cheating, leave. Like, it ain't always that simple.
No, it's not always that simple, but it's not always as simple as your partner just doesn't want to have sex with you. And so why would you make the decision to just go out and cheat versus trying to figure out what you can do to fix your sex life?
So
why would the answer to the problem being go out and cheat?
So in the example I gave, I said the people have had a conversation. Like, they talked about it.
And the decision was, we're just not going to be having sex.
Possibly. Or somebody might have said, you know what? All right, fine, I'll do better. And then they don't. Like, that happens too. People give their word and go back on it because they don't really believe it, or it's not convenient. Like, I've been in a relationship with a few different women, and when women don't want to have sex, they don't want to have sex. And there's a variety of issues that they can give, or in my opinion, typically they're excuses, but sometimes they don't want to do it. Like, and you could say, hey, this is not cool. And I know a lot of people, that's not true. Not a lot of people, don't go through my friends list, but I know people in situations that have had similar experiences. And so they go get it elsewhere. And they're great providers. They're great parents.
But they're justified in it because their partner won't have sex.
I didn't say they were justified. I'm just saying what they did.
Right.
The reason they did it was this. Yes.
But because they're a great provider, because they take care of their kids, because this, that, and the third, they are then justified to go out and go have sex.
You keep jumping to justify.
So then what do you call it? So
it's just what they did. That wasn't right.
Is it more okay that they've gone out and cheated because they're doing all these other things right? And because it's so hard to end a relationship, a person should just suck it up?
I mean, I think if the relationship has a flaw and the flaw can't get fixed.
Well, then exactly. If there's a flaw in the relationship, fix the flaw. If the flaw cannot be fixed, and there's still going to be this huge disconnect between two people who have connected their lives that way, it might be time to decide if this relationship is the relationship that's for both people.
So
because from what I hear, the person going out and cheating and, getting the sexual gratification that it is that they want, yeah, they're getting that portion. And so now they're better. But what about the person who's being cheated on?
They don't want to have sex anyway.
But why don't they want to have sex?
I don't know. I've never been in a position where I didn't want to have sex. So
that's what I'm saying.
As a woman, tell me, why would a woman not want to have sex?
There's a myriad of reasons why women don't want to have sex.
I've never been in that position where I did not want to.
Most of them can be fixed. If it's a problem with your hormones, you figure that out. You work with your doctor. Boom, your libido's back open and driving, and boom, y'all are having sex. If it's a pain or physical issue, again, you go to your doctor. Your doctor fixes it. Boom, you're back in the game. If it's an emotional disconnection or just something that is wrong, you talk to your pastor. You talk to a therapist. You talk to someone, and you get the problem fixed. And then if all of those other options are exhausted and a woman still just doesn't want to have sex, And then she doesn't want to have sex. And then you both need to decide, is this the type of thing that we want to live with? And if I tell you I still love you, but we're probably not going to have sex that frequently, I can try or, whatever. You then have to decide what you want to do. And if your decision is to go out and cheat on me after I said I will make concessions so that you're not going sexist, but this isn't about to be some romp around house, like, you are then making the decision to go out and violate our relationship. In which case, I am justified if I decide I want to leave.
So I 100% agree. If anyone cheats, the other person has a right to leave.
Yeah.
No disagreement with you there. My stance, and obviously I have the male brain, is it's not just I'm going to stay or cheat, especially when there's marriage. Because when I want to leave, when this isn't working, I got to pay alimony. I got to pay spousal support. I might got to pay child support. Like, it's not just like I don't just get to up and leave. So it's flawed in that in a relationship or in a union, the man's going to more than likely get stuck with the bill, especially if he cheated.
But no, bro, because that's a cop out now at this point anyway. We see more and more and more all the time men getting alimony, men not having to pay some, astronomical amount of money
for regular people.
Yeah, even regular people. We know people.
Who we know?
People.
I don't know those people. Now,
you do.
You might know. I don't even know anybody that's got divorced recently.
Not recently. I'm just saying in general. Like, we know people who've gone through situations, and to just be done with the situation, they decide, I'll just pay and to be done with it.
Yeah, there's a cost. Right. That's not free and clear.
But it's not always the man.
It's usually the man. There's a ton of statistics that support this. We don't have to have that.
There are a ton of statistics that support this. Go ahead. Continue your point.
So my thought process, or my point is, in this, it's not just, I'm not just weighing, okay, my wife doesn't want to have sex with me and I want to have sex, I'm just going to leave. No. There's huge ramifications. There could be houses there's so much, like you said, the lives are intermingled. So do we want to throw and blow up everything over cheating?
Yeah, I mean, well, honestly, that's my stance. I personally feel like if you want to take your dirty self out to the streets can have you. And
But then you are then in those streets too.
I'll be in the streets. Been in the streets before. It wasn't fun.
Right.
But I'll do it again, because what you're not going to do, especially as a married woman, what you're not going to do is disrespect me. And to me, cheating on every level is disrespectful.
I'm not going to argue with that.
And why would I deal with it in my home? We have built a home together. We have children together. We have a life together. Why would I tolerate it in this relationship and then think that it's going to be okay? If I can put up with you on every other level, and like I said, I can make concessions to whatever your sexual desires are, but I'm still not giving enough, or you're not getting enough, and you still decide to go out and go do whatever you're going to do, if your husband is treating you that way, what's worse than that? What's out in the streets?
I would argue it could be a lot. It could be a lot worse.
I mean, there is a lot worse out there, but there's a lot of great out there too. I know a lot of really great single people. They just don't know each other for some reason.
We disagree on that.
I know a lot of great single people. They have reasons as to why they're single.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, and if I'm wrong, clarify. You were saying, if a woman says, I don't want to have sex, for whatever reason, maybe she's tried a couple things, whatever's wrong with her, who knows? At that point, the man is supposed to do what?
Nothing.
So he just goes without.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that fair to him?
But I would say the same thing if the scenario was with a woman having to go without.
That's very rare.
Regardless of how rare it is, Ray, if it's the situation,
so if that's situation. Why is that fair?
Because you promised this person for better or for worse, and obviously you're going through the worst
for the rest of my life.
Then at that point, you need to decide for the rest of your life, am I going to cheat on my wife or husband? Or do I just want to be in a relationship where I am being fulfilled in every way that I need to be fulfilled in? Again, like there's no, if cheating is a hard line for your partner, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So, in that scenario, let's stay with that scenario. Say said man, and we're going to use man for this argument. Say said man is like, all right, I want out. Should he then be forced to pay to get out?
I mean, that's up to the judge.
No, you can come to an agreement. The two parties can come to an agreement and say, this is what we've agreed to.
So, sure. Why not? You're the reason why the relationship is exploding.
How's the man the reason? The woman's the reason.
No, you've decided that because I'm in a place right now where sex is not a thing. You've decided that sex is more important than every other aspect of our relationship.
You've changed the dynamic of the relationship.
But we just said, we've talked, we've gone to counseling, we've done this and we've done that. And
you're broken.
And nothing is working for me right now. So because nothing is working for me right now, you're deciding that sex is more important than every other aspect of our relationship. You don't care that we've got children together. You don't care that we've built this life together. You don't care. You want to stick your finger.
I do care.
You don't.
I do.
Because if you've decided that you want out, then you clearly don't care anymore.
I'm deciding I don't want to go without.
No.
I would rather stay, and I'd rather you welcome me. But you refuse to welcome me. So I'm left with cheating or leaving or coping. And that could become dangerous because when people have a bunch of pent up anger and emotion, that's not healthy either. So I could also become an abusive and resentful husband, or I can go, or I can cheat. All of this is falling on the man because the woman is making the decision. And that seems crazy to me that that's fair.
So again, in any other scenario, let's say the man is incompetent.
Like he's dumb?
No, like his what is
impotent.
Impotency. And so is a wife then justified for whatever reason he's impotent? We don't know how long it's gonna, be the case. Viagra ain't really helping. Like we have surgical options, but do we really want to pay for that? Like, yes. By all means, he said yes. By all means, you are not functioning down there. Do you want me to go out and cheat on you?
If there's just, we've exhausted, I am physically incapable. So I don't think these are apples to apples because women are never physically incapable.
Yes, there are times where women are physically incapable.
How can a woman be physically incapable?
You think that it's just put the thing in the hole and everything's great.
We got 4 kids.
But it's not. Like, it can be painful and there's reasons why that happens. There are so many reasons as to why a woman does not want to have sex.
So there's a difference between not want to have sex and cannot have sex. And the example you gave, the man can't do it. He want to do it, but it don't work. It's broke.
So in any scenario where the person is incapable, whether it's mentally or physically, they cannot perform. Because do you want the woman to just lay there?
I think most men would be okay.
Y'all complain about that all the time.
No, I mean, no one wants that.
Men complain about that all the time. We do all the work.
We do all the work.
Y'all don't do nothing. Y'all just be laying there.
Have to do all. Y'all twerk at the club. We twerk in the bed. That's just the way it is.
It's not twerking what y'all do. What
it is.
What are you talking about? I digress. For whatever reason, the woman is incapable of having sex. For whatever reason, the man is incapable of having sex.
Then they need to get out the way.
So get out the way how? You want to blow up our... Because I don't care what anybody
go out,
says. You
don't tell me about it. Don't bring nothing here. But I'm not going to make you miserable because I can't function.
Well, I'm telling you right now, buddy boy, if there's anything that ever goes wrong with me, you do not have permission to just go out in the streets and do whatever with whoever just because.
It shouldn't be with whoever, whenever, just because.
Well, that's the way that you're presenting it.
It should be a conversation between the two.
Nah, bro. You want to know how that conversation's gonna go?
Immaturely, apparently. Crawfish. Lord have mercy.
I am throwing crawfish. Yes, it's gonna go real immature, and I'm not agreeing to it. I'm just not. There's no.
Okay.
No.
All right. So I think we've settled that topic.
35 minutes into the show.
So you know who I am. If you watched the last podcast, huge Kanye fan.
Oh man.
And so what we've seen recently is, and we're not going to dig deep into this. There's a surface level conversation I want to have because it can go sideways. I've been on Twitter with people for days and weeks talking about this, and
no, it's gonna go sideways.
There is a huge divide about this issue.
We're gonna go sideways.
Okay, we might go sideways. So when you file for divorce, does that mean you are entitled to do whatever you want? Because what I continue to hear, and I'm going to use the Kanye example because it's the most common, most talked about situation, but I've seen it a variety of different ways. And a bunch of people have defended the action. Once you file for divorce, you no longer owe your partner exclusivity. And I say that because I have no condemnation for Kim kissing Pete. I have no condemnation for all the pictures. And while they were dating, there's been none of that. Now, when people refer to Kanye, they say, well, he was dating other women too. As if that's like a slight.
But he was.
That's not what we're discussing here. So I guess what my question is once you file, does that give you a license to do whatever you want?
No. I'm sorry, people, but the law is the law and relationships are relationships. You are married until the divorce is declared final. You can explain to whomever is interested, whatever your situation is, but just like you're single until legally you're married until you're literally divorced, like finalized, ink dried on the paper. I am divorced, that I'm no longer tied to this person legally or any other way.
Got it. Okay. I can live with it.
Now, does that mean you can't explore what your options are before you're divorced? No, it doesn't mean you can't. But the way that looks is always really interesting.
So you can go and you can start dating other people while you're married. You
can. I mean,
so
you asked a question. And I gave you an answer.
So you can date them, you just can't sleep with them until the divorce is final. But we can go drinks, we can take pictures, we can go on vacations, you can meet the kids, we can do everything that dating people do while married. But you just can't have sex with them.
I don't think you need to do everything that dating people do, though.
But you're dating. So why wouldn't you do dating people's stuff?
Well, there's limitations to it, I think.
So what line is that?
I mean, for me personally, I think there's a few different places where you would stop it. Like, you can start a friendship with someone, you can hang out for lunch, maybe dinner or something, but I wouldn't be bringing you home to meet my kids. You wouldn't be around my family. There's I guess, that line of how invested you are in said person before your divorce is finalized. Because, I mean, again, because you're not divorced. So you can't make this person promises. Well, you can, but they would be empty because you're still married. And then if you turn around and decide, oh, we're going to get back together, then this person is just left waiting in the sidelines like, what, but what about me? So people can make the decision to date. You just have to understand that that makes your divorce and everything and your emotions around all of that more complicated. I don't think you should, though.
That makes no sense.
That's what people do.
People also sleep with each other once they file for divorce. And that's the part of this conversation. Like, if I'm going to be dating other people, if I can date you, I can sleep with you. Because people that date each other sleep together.
Yes.
So if I'm married, you said you're married until it's finalized.
Mm-hmm.
Then why in the world am I allowed to date other people while we're still married?
I mean, most people at some point, they do like physically separate. So they're living in different places. They've continued on with their life while they're waiting for the divorce process to come to a close. Regular people, it takes, about a year, give or take, depending on your state, your laws in your state. So for a year, your life, do you want your life in limbo? Do you want to just be...
If you make the decision to get divorced, the flip side to the man decision, earlier I said you got to weigh the cost of the finances. If you're the woman and you file, yeah, you need to wait.
I mean, either way, the man or the woman, you're always trying to put stuff on women, and
I was using the example earlier where we used the man.
Okay.
And I was saying in that scenario, you said the man needs to pay. He needs those are his options. He got to live with them.
So all I'm saying is that legally you're still married. Period. Until your divorce is finalized, you're still married. So anything that you're doing and all of that while you're separated and not with your partner, it is what it is. It's still under the umbrella of your marriage. And does it make it right because you filed for divorce? No.
But it's okay.
Most people look at that period.
We're not talking about most people. We're talking about you. You're saying it's okay.
I'm saying personally, I don't think I would be offended if, for God, for whatever reason.
But if you found out I slept with that person, then you would be offended.
After I filed for divorce?
Right.
No. The streets can, if I'm...
So then you're saying you can sleep with people once you get divorced. Once divorce is filed, you can sleep with whoever you want.
I was saying in general, this is how people look at it. But me personally, if I file for divorce, you can go and do whatever you want to, Playboy, because I don't care no more.
So why did you start with, well, you're still married?
Because I am still married.
But it means nothing.
It doesn't. To me. To someone else, Kanye, it clearly means you're still married. You still feel a way about the person. You don't want...
I feel like God feels that way.
Well, God does feel that way. But me personally, if I have gotten to the point where I have filed for divorce, I don't want to be with you anymore, I don't care what you do. As long as that check clear and come on time, I don't, it is what it is.
That's sick. That's absolutely sick. So that brings me to a very, very different point. What respect does, so in that scenario, you quit the relationship. I don't want the relationship to be over, but you decided you're out. So now you're dating. What respect do I owe your new significant other?
On what level?
So again, I'll use an example. People are upset because Kanye made a video where he killed Pete and buried him and cut off his head. And I've heard different things about if that was really Pete or not, but that's not important. The point is, He's openly threatened Pete in mad songs.
Mm-hmm.
He's made Pete's life uncomfortable. He's what's the word? He bragged about chasing Pete off of Instagram. So it's clear he's not a fan of Pete. So my question is, but people are killing him saying, well, if she's moved on and she's happy with him and that man is going to be around your kids, you should welcome him.
Right.
My question is, how much respect does, and it just for examples, how much respect should Kanye give Pete?
If this is the person who Kim thinks she's going to be spending a lot of time with, which by all, appearances, it seems to be, then I agree with the people. You do have to show that man some modicum of respect. One, because he's going to be around your kids. Two, he's now become a part of your family. And in some way, shape, or form, that type of tension, like regardless of whether you like him or not, like that tension between the parents, the tension between the new dude and the old dude, like the kids can feel it, people around you can feel it. It makes for awkwardness anytime everybody's all in the same room. And I would say this, going the other way. What is the new chick's name? Shanae Jones, whatever. If Kim feels a way about her, she just needs to keep it to herself. I think that's just the functional way that adults should handle these sorts of situations. It's not always how it happens. We hear about baby mamas being super bitter towards the new chick all the time. But it is what it is. Like Future and the way that he publicly disrespects Russell Wilson. I don't think he does as much anymore, but when they first got together, it was awful. And it looked away. Like, you were the one who was out here acting a fool. You were the one out here cheating. So she left you. She, by all means, I think she came out ahead in the next relationship. And now you feel away. And it's just your fault that this is even the situation that you're in. But now this guy is raising your kid and you're acting a fool. It's just a way to have a monocle of decorum in these kinds of situations, because it already sucks. Relationships ending are never easy, especially marriages with kids. And I don't think Kanye's current behavior is any example of how someone should handle it. Like, personally, again, using us as an example. Like, let's say we're getting a divorce and for whatever reason, like, obviously we wouldn't still be podcasting together.
No.
I don't know who would, you're on here on the podcast blasting whoever it is that I'm, dating Absolutely. Or whatever. And I see it. Mm-hmm. And it's just out there for the world to see. Mm-hmm. I'm pissed. Kim, to me, I think has done a really good job
of hiding behind publicists.
Hiding behind publicists, but also just not coming out and saying anything. Because personally, I ain't it. I ain't the one. We would not be going through this kind of situation the way they are going through this kind of situation. Or we would just end up looking really toxic. Which is the road that you don't want to go down. Why?
So sweet. Makes you feel better.
It doesn't make you feel better.
Oh, it does. It does 100%. I don't get to be toxic very often in my life because of my faith and who I am.
So God would be okay with you getting on here and acting a fool?
I didn't say that. I didn't say God approved. I said I'll feel better. And in situations in my life, some where I got a chance to just light people up, I felt great. Like, I relished the opportunity.
Maybe that's what's wrong with me, because I never do. And there have been some times in life where the other person or the situation was very deserving, but I choose not to. Because I think it's because I'm a good person. Like, I don't know.
I don't think that's, I think I'm a good person, but I think if you do corny stuff, you get treated accordingly. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
You win stupid prizes for sure.
And so for me, I don't believe you get to dictate someone's response to your disrespect.
No, most
But
certainly don't.
But you can't say that and then criticize how Ye's moving, because he felt disrespected. And I agree, he was disrespected. And so he's taken a certain approach. Is it an aggressive approach? I'd say so.
Wait, you said you don't get to what?
Dictate how someone responds to disrespect.
Right. No, I 100% agree. I can't tell you how you should feel and respond to my perception of you disrespecting me.
But you just said if I got on here and blasted you, you would be angry.
I would most certainly be angry. You can't then in turn feel a way about me being angry about your response.
I don't care if you're angry or not.
That doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying. So if I got on here and let you have it, and then you turned around and went on the podcast and said something bad about me, you're right. I can't be mad about what you said. But I'm going to keep going. Because at this point in my life, what I've realized is the people that stay silent, it's not beneficial. You're better off, because most people are lonely anyway. You're going to lose a bunch of friends anyway. So
most people are not lonely. Why would you say that?
Mad people be lonely, yo.
A lot of people are lonely, but not most.
Most single people are lonely.
Single people.
And most people in relationships also are not happy, which is why they cheat at the level that they cheat. And they're on the internet or they're doing drugs or whatever else. Most people are not happy. I think that's factual in my experience. So
thank God we're not basing the world on your experience, because everybody's not that way.
I didn't say everyone, but I think most are.
Most.
I do. Have you looked at the world?
I have.
It's a pretty miserable place.
It is.
Whether there was just a soccer event. You take your kids to a soccer game and 20 people die.
Oh, in Mexico, yeah.
Like it's miserable. So I just think in the world we live in, I definitely believe we live in a much more toxic world. But I think it's because people are sick of being the bigger person, because the bigger person gets walked over and constantly disrespected. And you can.
God blesses those people, though. Because, again,
it's sometimes not into the next life, and it could be a hard natural life.
I don't know about that.
I can tell you from experience.
But again, God, you need to learn to see the blessings in everything that God does for you. Because 2 years ago, for me personally, it was a bunch of crappy stuff going on. And I was the bigger person in a lot of those crappy situations. And for me, by the time last year rolled around, I was just like, this can't really get any worse. But then God shows up the way that he always shows up for me. And I can think of a bunch of other times in my own personal life where I chose to be the bigger person. And maybe it wasn't a huge, let me post it on Instagram blessing moment. But I know in so many ways that because I made this decision, or because I chose to behave in this way, even if I wasn't, strong in walking my faith with God, I know that a lot of those, ups, or, what's the word? Glow ups, or whatever you want to call it, those little things that are awesome, were blessings from God for me doing what was the right thing.
So we have different experiences, but just fine.
Okay.
We do.
So you mean to tell me, because you've chosen to be the bigger person most of your life, nothing good has come from that?
No, I am blessed 100%. But the people that have wronged me in life are just fine. In a lot of cases, they're great. And I've just had to tuck and feel how I felt and process my emotions.
Yeah, but you are a rare case where not rare. Most people do feel a way once someone has wronged them. But you want to see somebody's life crash and burn and be destroyed, and they be, in a miserable puddle of mud for the rest of their lives. That's not realistic. That's not how the world works.
That's fine. But yes, you're entirely right. Like,
so
I feel like
you being the bigger person has blessed you in many ways. You being somewhat non-toxic most of your life has caused you to live a life of more prosperity in a lot of areas versus those people who have wronged you.
that's debatable.
Seriously?
I feel like
I can think of one thing off the top of my head immediately.
In my life, I feel the reason I lived the life I live isn't because I didn't retaliate against people. Because in a recent life event, in a lot of ways, I did retaliate. And I felt better. And I'm still pretty blessed.
How did you retaliate? I don't think you were retaliating. I think you were at that point defending yourself.
Yes, but it was an aggressive defense, which was uncommon for me.
Because of the severity of the situation, you had to clear your name. And the way in which you chose to clear your name.
But that's what I'm talking about.
I know, could be viewed. I mean, even within that, the person who violated your relationship, they
are fine.
They are, but they're not, because they're now missing out on a lot of stuff.
They, I'm sure, have made their peace, and sure, could their life be somewhat better? Yes. But I think they're fine.
To potentially die alone is not fine. When you don't have to.
I'm confident they have other people that
it's not the same.
We disagree. we can agree to disagree. But I just, back to the example of the third party, I don't think you owe that person anything. If they played a role, and this isn't just the person that your significant other cheated with. If someone played a role in the demise of your relationship, I don't think you owe them any respect. Whether it's a publicist, whether it's the third party, whether it's a friend of yours that was in their ear manipulating the situation.
But see, and this is where we are disagreeing on the situation. Pete is not playing a role in the demise of the relationship. At this point, that's all Kanye. That's all Kanye. Disagree.
You don't think, one, his actions are completely different if there's no him in the picture.
Right.
All of this erratic, and I'll use that term, erratic, aggressive behavior came once he showed up. Before then, what did he do? They was doing shows. She was showing up at shows. She wore the wedding dress. Like, he was trying to win her back. Once more pictures and stuff started coming out and stories started coming out, that's when he said, I'm going to control my narrative. And all the stuff that I've been dealing with in quiet while I've been trying to work this out, I'm not going to be quiet no more.
So, one, we do not know what is going on behind closed doors in their relationship.
100% correct.
Two, she was doing all that stuff that we saw as super supportive and all of that. Meanwhile, still pursuing a divorce, still actively pursuing a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that there was probably something personal that happened between them that obviously we're not privy to that made her decide, maybe all of what I'm doing is the reason why this divorce is not getting done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at that point is when she decided, whatever I have to do to make sure that he understands that we're not getting back together, and it's clear to him that we're not getting back together. So if Pete was that, if Pete, whatever role Pete is playing for her, fine. But that does not mean that you have to threaten the life of the person that I'm with, especially when I'm not sending any of that same venom back. It's just a courtesy. Because if you ever, you don't owe me that. But if you ever loved me, if you ever really cared about me as much as you claim, why would you take it to that level? You are
because I care about me more than I care about you.
But apparently you don't, because Jesus, I don't want to go there. And we're about to open this can of worms. There are so many other ways that he could be trying to prove to her that he wants her back. There are so many other ways
that didn't work. So he did what he thought was best. He was
doing a bunch of stuff publicly, but clearly, I mean, it's come out that they went to counseling and counseling didn't work. It's come out that they've done all these other things and these things didn't work.
Right. So I try something different. You introduce said guy. I owe him no respect. And I may never respect. Raymond, would never respect him. You see me publicly trying to get her back, and you go and stick your nose and body.
See you publicly trying to get her back, but you're also publicly dating and doing other things that probably caused the demise of your relationship to begin with. Like, let's not sit here and act like Kanye's been perfect the last 4 years. They have had issues.
Correct.
Serious issues.
Correct.
And
we were married, and so I owe you nothing. And if I want to threaten you through my art, I will do so.
See, now you're just being a hypocrite.
How am I being a hypocrite?
Because it's like you're condoning what he's doing. When 10 seconds ago, it was just like, no, you can't do none of that.
When did I say you can't do that?
The way that he's acting, the things that he's done. So
I've said from the beginning, that third party, I owe them nothing.
So we're just not going to talk about Julia Fox. So Julia Fox is straight. And that other model chick. You can't do the same action that you're upset with someone else about and then be pissed because that person's doing the same thing.
So, and this is where we are definitely going to disagree.
And then again,
we view them different. I think Julia has come out and said it. The world knew it, and so many where Jay said it. That was not real. And at any moment,
either way, they were sleeping together. They were doing all kinds of stuff. They were in some sort of relationship. So,
and at any moment, had his wife said, "Drop her. I'm ready and willing," he would have dropped her.
Right, he would have dropped her, but that doesn't mean he wasn't in a relationship with her.
Okay, you're right. And I don't think the relationship was the right idea. I'm not condoning that. I don't agree with it. But what I am saying is, to me, they're not the same thing.
They're not the same thing to you because you are a stan and you just are cool with everything that Kanye does.
If he would have said, Kim, leave Pete, come back to me, and she won't, that's not the same thing.
Bro, it doesn't matter if that's not the same thing in that way.
So it's not the same thing. That's all I'm saying.
It is the same thing. He was in a relationship with Julia Fox.
Okay.
Was he in a relationship with her or not?
Yes.
Kim is in a relationship with Pete.
Yes.
Kim has only been in this little relationship with Pete a few months. We have pictures of Kanye with the other chick in Paris and all that other stuff. And they said they were just friends, but it was clear from statements Kanye had made that he would pursue a relationship with her. Now he's in another relationship.
After Pete showed up.
This is the second one since Pete showed up, though.
Right.
So 2 relationships.
Yes.
And then we've got him on record saying he was cheating.
When did he say that?
And he was still playing around to 2 kids or whatever in the song.
That's okay. Okay, let's go.
So you think he just put it in the song just because?
So let's go with that.
So you think he just put it in the song just because?
I said let's go with it.
So you think he just put it in the song just because?
Do you know what let's go with it means? That means I'm agreeing with you.
Fine. Well, let's go with it.
So yes.
we know that he's cheated.
Did she leave then?
We know that he's cheated.
Yes.
So he's got a record of infidelity.
Allegedly so has she, but let's stick with just him cheating.
And so we know that he's had several mental health breakdowns in the last few years.
Okay. Allegedly, but go ahead.
What do you mean allegedly?
He said he got hospitalized one time.
Right. He got hospitalized one time. But
so
there were many occasions where you could see that everything wasn't right with Kanye.
Which could be a normal emotional response to stress.
Sure.
Not a mental health crisis.
But what has he done to help himself? He's been real flip-floppy on a lot of stuff. I personally think involving his spirituality.
Which is a big deal.
It is. To him, at times. I think at times he's still real for the culture, which we all are, as Christians at some point in time. But for someone who needs the stability that God can provide, I don't think he's done the greatest job of truly seeking God to help him manage him. And so we've seen him spaz out on Twitter. We've seen him spaz out on social media. We've seen him say all kinds of things. We've seen him do all these sorts of things that can be detrimental to relationships. We've seen him say stuff, when he was campaigning and other times that can be viewed super hurtful in relationships. You think Kim watched that Drink Champs interview and thought, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want to come home to. Me and my husband decide to work things out. You land blasting my publicist.
Who's dogging me? Yes. She deserved it.
Sure. And you have made the decision that she deserves it.
Right.
I have made the
decision. So
again,
he has to keep taking a ton of punches and keep his mouth shut because he's trying to win his family back. They can dog him and talk about him and put out every single article about how miserable he is and all his issues, and he just got to keep eating it because he's trying to get his family back. But God forbid he speak up and talk about some of the stuff they're doing. Oh, well, now he's not trying to win her back because you wouldn't do that if you're trying to win her back. Well, stop kicking me in my back while I'm trying to win you back. It's simple.
Ray, all this stuff is happening while you're trying to win me back.
Right. So you keep letting your publicist dog me to the media while I'm trying to win you back, and I just got to shut up.
The same way you were just upset about a woman deciding not to have sex, so you decide to go out and do whatever you're going to do, but despite whatever is going on with your wife, is the same thing that Kanye West is doing with this divorce. Yes, this divorce is happening. Yes, she's trying to leave. So part of me is it's like, no, I want to make my relationship work. But the other part of me is still doing all the things that's going to throw landmines and blow up my relationship. I don't think you can have it both ways. Most people don't think you can have it both ways. I'm not saying that Kim has been perfect in this divorce, but I am leaning more on her side of why she should get the divorce.
Well, I hope she gets it, and I hope she enjoys her fourth marriage whenever that happens.
I don't think she's getting married again.
I don't think many people would want to marry her personally.
Oh, no, she's Kim Kardashian. She'd get married again if she wants to.
Right, and it'd be another failed divorce because she has a history of failed relationships. But
that's not nice or very godlike, right?
It's fact.
Still.
She's had a bunch of failed relationships, and here's another one. And there will be another one. Because she's been validated by everyone saying it's all his fault. It's all Kanye's fault.
I didn't say it's all his fault.
All that I see on social media is it's Kanye's fault. She has no culpability in this. She's done nothing but stand by him and all this other crap that I see from all these women. And it's a lot of men too. So if I'm her, I'm justified. So you know what you're going to do? You're going to cheat on the next one, and the next one will fail. Except you'll be 50 then. And good riddance to her. But the point in all this was the third party. I don't think the third party deserves any level of respect. And you put yourself in a line of fire and you catch strays or get shot. You did that to yourself. You're not a sympathetic figure. Pete knew the situation he was walking himself into. And if a rapper makes a diss track about me because I'm with his wife, that should be expected.
Right. The diss track, most certainly. 100% I get the diss track. You making a video
of the diss track
with you chopping my head off. I mean, and then even
so is that supposed to be holding hands with you in the video?
No, bro. It's just wrong. And the fact that people keep trying to justify it as it's just art, it's not real. Well, art often imitates life. And by all means, it shines a light on Kanye that people don't want to see.
I don't think he cares, nor would I.
No, he don't care. And the fact that you don't care is not surprising either. But it makes you look a certain way.
And I will
you
own
can
that.
eat that.
Right.
And you can eat that. And whatever consequences that come with it, come what may.
Perfect. So we're way past the time I wanted to have this conversation, but I would do want to have this conversation because it's on topic. So a woman had a bachelorette party, and at said bachelorette party, there were male strippers. At said bachelor party with the male strippers, the male stripper put chocolate sauce on a private area, and the woman who was set to get married the next day got it off. The woman's sister recorded it.
Oh, man.
And sent it to the man she was supposed to marry the next day.
Why would she do that?
Why would she not do that?
I'm sorry. Keep going with the story.
Needless to say, he called off the wedding.
Yeah, for sure.
So my question to you is, I can't believe you said that. Are there rules at a bachelorette party? Is cheating acceptable?
I don't think cheating is acceptable. Like, what she did was pretty extreme. Like, I don't even think I've ever seen that at a bachelorette party. I've seen some stuff. Let me not go down that route. No, it is not acceptable. No, it is not okay. But I think that's, to an extent, behaving risky is expected at a bachelor party or a bachelorette party. That is why, people get so excited for them. Like, and typically male bachelor parties are typically a lot worse. But like I said, like, how old am I? I'm 33, I'll be 34. I've been to, I'm gonna say 5 or 6 bachelorette shindigs in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen some things.
How many did the bride cheat?
None of them cheated. But I know things happen that, the men would not be happy about happening, but no cheating was involved. So I think it's really, up to whatever the other person feels about the situations on these last nights of singleness.
But you're not single. You're in a relationship.
The law says that I'm single until I'm married.
So then you should condone that behavior throughout the entire relationship before you're married.
I mean, I know people that do. I don't think you should, but it is what it is. To each his own. How many bachelor parties have you ever been to?
1, maybe 2.
And how did that go?
For my bachelor party, we went gambling. Went to a casino. For the other one, I don't even remember it, but it was just men hanging out. We did what we did. There was no strippers. There was a bunch of women.
Were these people saved?
No.
No.
I mean, I've only been to 2. And for mine, like, I think the idea behind bachelor and bachelorette parties is just dumb. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
You would say that.
It doesn't make sense that mentally I'm in a space that 12 to 15 hours before I'm going to marry someone for the rest of my life, I'm going to have a bunch of naked women or men in my face and interact with them in a way that I would never interact with on any other occasion.
I agree with that portion.
Like, if you want to take a trip somewhere, and like I said, we went gambling. It was cool. But that part, the stripper part for either side, I've never understood it.
I mean, you can go see strippers when you're married.
Yes, you can. So that part, I just never understood the why behind it. So I go out, had this crazy night, and then the next day I got to look you in the face. Like, that just seems nuts to me. So I don't get it. And obviously I would have dropped her too. The rumor is the sister may have been sleeping with him, so she sabotaged it.
I 100% would agree, or
had an interest in him or some form of fashion.
That's like some hater stuff.
But
why would you?
But you hear that a lot.
I mean,
I feel like that happens with women more than men. When best friends sleep with their man,
because women are trash sometimes.
Like, I know it does happen with men, but typically I feel like men aren't like that unless the woman's like super aggressive.
It's a lot of it is because women have been taught for forever, basically, that we need to see each other as competition for men. We need to see each other as competition for everything in life. And I'm glad that we're moving towards a culture that is less supportive of those sorts of mindsets. But there's still a lot of women out there, unfortunately, that feel like we're good as long as you're not doing better than me. And once you're doing better than me, then I have to fix that. So, unfortunately, that's still how people function.
That it is. So prayers to all involved in today's discussion. Whether it was crawfish that came your way, whether it was a diss video that came your way. Actually, I don't really care.
I was going to say, you're not paying for Pete.
But I am. Like, he's still a human being. I think he's trash. He's a human being. I think he's trash, and he's definitely ducking a bunch of strays, but that's only because of the way the messaging is. Mm-hmm. I feel like if the messaging was different and the people were different, and it wasn't somebody with a track record of mental illness and outbursts, I think it would be viewed very differently. But here we are. So as y'all know, in life, things happen. As we definitely talked about today, you have the power to choose what you do. I always caution you, choose wisely, but always bet on you. If you've enjoyed today and you want to support and see this thing continue to grow, please like, share, and subscribe. You can also look at supporting us through the different options that have been scrolling across the bottom of your screen. We are effectively into year 2, much, much bigger things to come. So thank you all. Continue to be great, and we will be great for you. Have a good one.